myself, Bart, and Sean, of course.
Hello, it's been ages since we last did this, didn't we?
Yes, mate. I know. I've been away. I've been on holiday. More to a point, I've been doing something a bit crazy. So we'll come back to this later on. We've come up with Sean mentioned a really stupid idea a few issues back, and I actually took him seriously. And yeah, it's all gone very out of control. But we'll come back to that a bit later. So midpoint, Sean, you've been on the stats. What's been happening, mate? What's been happening while I've been in the sunny region of Norwich, where it rained quite a lot while I was working?
What's been happening was they did the testing, SNET testing. When we interviewed Max Coates, he was on about the testing at Snetting. I think it was on the 16th or 17th of July.
Okay.
So that happened. Unfortunately, Max Coates wasn't out there. I don't know why. There was a few drivers that didn't go in for the session, like the testings and that. Like Dave Newsham, I think he was on holiday. Rob Austin, he wasn't there. I don't think, because he was more. There
was a lot of people doing stock car. I remember there was a Motorsport News 60th sort of anniversary of oval racing, and Rob Austin, Rob Collard, Aaron Smith.
Aidan Moffat.
Yeah, Andy Jordan, all those lot were there, weren't they? So I'm not sure if that was the same weekend. I'm not sure. I just remember seeing it on
I think that was like a couple of weeks before the testing. Yeah.
Okay. So in big news then, going forward, we're at the sort of halfway point of the season. Who do you think is going to be really turning it on in the second half of the season and doing the performance parts then? Where do you think the performance and where do you think the championship's heading right now?
Well, Tordorf's on a lot of form right now. You know, he's won 4 out of the last 6 races. So, and also BMW had a great day out in Croft with all 3 of their drivers winning 3 races. So I could see Tordorf making a bit of an upset towards Plato and Shedden.
I think Shedden's really chasing it this year, and it's more a case of Plato's to lose. However, my dark horse is Andy Jordan. I really do.
Oh yeah, I forgot about to see him.
Yeah, I think.
So, go on.
I was just going to say, I think Andy's finally getting to grips with the MG now.
Yeah, I think he is. He tested a lot in the testing sessions. I think. Because I've got all the times up here because I all wrote it out, and he did the most laps in the morning session, and he did the most laps in the afternoon session. He only did morning and the afternoon, but Andy Jordan was, I think, altogether he'd done 120 laps testing of maybe tyres and the car as well, and in both sessions he finished second.
Because there's been a lot of talk. I remember reading an Autosport article a couple of weeks back saying that not only have TOCA been given the license again, because Palmer was trying to take over, wasn't he, from Alan Gow, to actually run and look after the actual promotion of the British touring car paddock, and failed in his attempts to do that. Alan Gow's going to be there, for the next period that's allowed by the MSA to actually run British touring cars. It's going to be same old, pretty much. But there is talk of them bringing different tyre compounds into the BTCC, and perhaps talk of a qualifying tyre as well, which was quite interesting, I thought.
Yeah, but I mean, if you go back to the question of the very first question of the first around the bend that we ever did, a few people, agreed on scrapping the soft compound rule tyre thingy, and which I agree on a bit as well, because it just kind of spoils it. I mean, it would be fair. It would be even more fun if they were just all had the same tyre, as if you know what I mean.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I honestly believe what they should really do is extend the racing out. So perhaps bang 2 or 3 extra laps on it, but make the tyres more durable. Because sometimes with penalties for exceeding track limits and things like that in certain bits, the races would be so much spicier if they always finish like 3 laps too soon. And I think if they had a more durable tyre and ran them an extra 3 laps, we'd see a lot more people getting a penalty and then catching back up right at the end of the race with a bit between the teeth. You know, I think that would be, I think it'd be quite good racing at that point.
Yeah.
But as always, Sean, we want more overtaking, more fun and more rubbing and racing, because that's British touring cars and that's why we love it. So
exactly, yeah. But still, to me, I just say get rid of the soft tyre compound rule rubbish thing.
Yeah, I know, that's it has been a bane. It's get it off your Plato time, isn't it? I think for you with that. Is that you get it off the Plato since we last talked?
No, that's not.
What is then?
Snetterton, the track itself.
Nice. That is a big call. We're not going to get many complaints about this one, especially from people in Norfolk. Okay.
I just think...
Why?
I don't like it now. I preferred the old Snetterton than the new one. Because they've got rid of... Because, I mean, Snetterton before was like a fast track, had like a left-hander, another left-hander, long straightaway, and then you had like that tight chicane, and then you got the bum hole, and then you got the other chicane there, which was a perfect opportunity to overtake someone. They've got rid of the last chicane, and they've made it so much longer now. It's like nearly 2 minutes to complete a lap, and for me, that's a bit that's too long.
I honestly think that Snetterton, the redesign, was done purely to allow, when Palmer redid Snetterton, he was doing it with Formula 2 in mind, his F2 concept, because the cars wanted to run quicker, and it sort of had to have so many tracks to run on that were a certain length with certain runoffs, and Snetterton was being redone, and I think it was very, very financially savvy for him to do what he did with Snetterton at the time. And it's a very technical track now as regards to being constantly quick there, I think now. I think before, if you saw the car was dialed in, you couldn't really, if you got somebody running at the front with the car dialed in, you couldn't really catch them and make a difference. I think the sort of track neutralises that a bit now. It can be a bit vanilla in places. Some of it seems to be very, very, very easy for a British touring car driver to go around, whereas if you're in a single-seater, the guys in the MSA Formula should imagine it's a much different race for them around Snetterton. Just seems to be geared to be more exciting for single seaters than British touring cars.
Yeah.
Personally speaking, I just don't know.
I mean, to be fair, there has been some good races, but I just feel the track's just too long, too dreary, and
it sort of runs a risk when Alton Park used the International. Now, you see, everybody complained about Alton Park using the International circuit, and yet I thought it was a cracking race. It was a bit processional that year, but the idea of them using that track kind of appealed to me, really. You can't knock the MSV organisation for what they've done for British motorsport. Their way that they've raised funding and tidied up the tracks and everything else, it's made Snetterton a much safer circuit than it used to be as well. If you had there wasn't very many accidents there, but when they were, they tended to be big and quite nasty. There was a YouTube clip. Did you ever see the one where the single-seater car flipped nearly at the bridge there?
Oh, that's the was that Formula Palmer Audi, was it?
Yeah,
no,
he ended up nose first in the, literally at the side of the bridge that said Snetterton on it. You know what I mean? And it was
because he was attempting to make a pass, didn't he?
Yeah.
And then the guy that he passed blocked him and made contact with him.
Yeah, and he hit his right front on the other guy's left rear, and it flipped him clean up. And I'm not being funny. If there'd been another 40, 50 metres down the road, he'd have been in the bridge that said Snetterton on in a single seater, which is never. And I mean, it tends to happen. Every time it happens, it tends to be at an MSV-owned circuit. I mean, if there was Chris van der Drift, I think it was his name, guy who did I think it was Auto GP, and it was like a single seater, but he flipped famously in a few seasons ago at Brands Hatch at the bridge and ended up in a big fireball. And I think it was that Super Formula, where they were all football clubs. They were all cars, but they were all sponsored by football clubs. Yeah. He smashed up in there good and proper. And it just seems to be there's a lot of accidents around that course when they get to, they seem to favour the single seaters. Like I say, it seems to make it more exciting, hence the big straights. Whereas with British touring cars, they're so close, it can get a bit processional because people don't want to take each other off. They want to race some Rubbings racing and all that, but they don't want to smash each other off the track because the track limits, especially at the MSV circuits now, are so closely policed. There's cameras on everything. So
I think what you were saying as well was a lot of them incidents. The one that you were saying about Snetterton and the Brands Hatch one, that was like rubber on rubber contact, though, wasn't it?
Yeah, but that they are by nature in single seaters travelling a lot faster than a British touring car would at that part of the circuit. So that's why the actual main straights and everything are longer to cope with the single seaters doing that speed. So when you wind 25, 30 mile an hour off and put a touring car on there, those straights can be, like you say, 100 meters too long. But you can't just magically shorten a straight by 100 meters. Perhaps they could cut one of the corners out and put another corner in or something and just shorten the lap or put another chicane in it or something somewhere. Would make it quite, a bit more exciting, really. Break one of those up with perhaps a temporary chicane or something.
But, I mean, what they also did for the last part of the track at Snetterton is they made it like a long right-hander and then they brake in the middle of the corner and then turn left. I mean, they've basically taken away a good opportunity to overtake someone. Like, there was a lot of overtakes at the chicane, but there's hardly any now at the new chicane that they've done. Coming towards the start-finish line, I mean.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, I mean, it's one of those circuits that it's sort of ingrained into, there's been some really exciting stuff. Do you remember Tom Chilton getting tapped? I think it was there underneath the bridge, and he almost lost it when he was in the Civic. And it was literally one of the best touring car saves I've ever seen. It was one when he was in the first iteration of the Honda Civic. He was running as an independent, and he had a tap on the rear, and I'm sure it was Dan Eves that tapped him on the rear. And he literally went from one side to the other and back, and it was absolutely flat out. You couldn't go any faster or any further sideways and not have an accident. It was just an immense save. And it's stuff like that, if Snetterton wasn't on the calendar, that would be missed. There's always the potential for it to go wrong very quickly there. And it's all support races as well. I mean, Carrera Cup and everything around there is really exciting as well to go and watch.
I'm just trying to think of that. That must have been 2003.
Yeah.
That was probably when he drove the Honda. In 2003, Chilton.
Yeah, it's it's ingrained on my memory as one of the greatest touring car saves ever. How he didn't get seriously injured that day, I do not know. Honestly, because that car had got rolling over written all over it, and he managed to hold it, and that was just the most phenomenal piece of car control. But still, I mean, so going on then with the stats at the midpoint. Then what else do you want to see and chat about tonight, mate? What's the plan?
Well, for other stuff we want to chat about as well as what's been happening as well. Simon Belcher, him.
He's leaving for 3 races. You said.
Yeah,
I didn't
he's
see the
leaving
news list for being away. So
he's not racing at Rockingham, and what's the next round after that? It's Knockhill, isn't it? And then it's Rockingham. Yeah. So he won't be there for them 3 races because he's been replaced by Rob Holland. But from going back to the Snetterton testing, Belcher was driving for Tom Ingram's team. So am I wondering if Belcher's going to be driving for Tom Ingram's team and for the Speedworks team to have 2 cars out on track for them 3 races?
It could well happen. I mean, it's all down to the personal sponsorship. I mean, Rob Holland's doing a full season, I thought, but it's only selected rounds it's gone into, so I don't know what his budget situation is, and I wouldn't like to speculate on that. But it was really interesting to sort it. It would be a really interesting guy to interview. I think we should go after trying to get Rob Holland on actually at some point because he's. It seems to be that he's got a real big love affair with the British touring cars,
Who doesn't?
Yeah, I know, but I'm on about, like, you know, he's evidently got the money to do an entire season, and he's evidently got the sponsorship and the fan support to do his entire season, but he never does. So, you know, just might be one of those questions we never get to the answer to. Yeah, it's interesting. You know, does Tom Ingram need a teammate? Not sure that he does.
By far and away, he is the best driver in the Toyota Aventus Cup. I mean, if I put up again the testing sessions, you know, Ingram was 5th fastest. The next guy that was in a Toyota was Kieran Gallagher and Rob Holland, and he was 21st. He was like a good 3 seconds off Tom Ingram's fastest time, and then in the afternoon session, Ingram was 6th quickest, and the next quickest Toyota was down in 22nd, I think it was. Wow. 22nd. So
it does make you wonder.
I don't think he needs a teammate.
To be honest with you, I was thinking about this actually when we were discussing it off air before. Can you see these independents that you've got? You know, like how BMR have become a 4-car super team. You know what I mean? It's like they've got their 2 big hitters with Plato and Turkington. You know, and then they've got Warren Scott and they've got Aaron Smith. Not necessarily bringing up the rear, but, you know, if ITV go to do an interview with anybody, they head for Turkington and Plato first, really, and all the interviews, you know, because of the championship situation. Can you see all these, like, you know, Tom Ingram, Stewart, all these guys getting together and sort of working together, even though they're in separate teams, sort of like doing things like in the qualifying, drafting each other, you know, doing that sort of stuff to actually get them working as individual teams, but together to get themselves further up the grid?
No.
Short but sweet, you know. I don't know. I just you know, it's you see it sometimes. You do see it sometimes with other teams, you know, where they work together and say qualifying to like try and get each other through. Like, right, okay, I'll put my qualifying lap in, and then I'll pull over and I'll go in front of you and punch a hole in the air for you for your qualifying lap, but you do it for me.
I think the best track to do that is Thruxton, because you have the slipstream.
Yeah. Yeah. Could work at Snetterton as well, the massive straight there. You know, to actually start working, you know, working together and getting to the front before fighting it out amongst themselves.
Yeah.
You know, but perhaps might be something that works. I don't know. So yeah, so midpoint assessment then and stats. You know, we've got everything. We put them up on the Facebook group a few weeks ago, and I know some members of the group put other ones in that have come in from other places and everything else. But it's midpoint part of the season. From here, the championship's going to turn its corner, I believe, and get more intense if that was actually possible, more possible. I don't think we've seen a real big dust up yet, though, have we? We haven't seen anybody take anybody off and there be handbags at dawn, you know. Yeah, I quite expected that between Shedden and Plato at this point of the season, but no, not this time round. Been very well behaved.
Especially Plato, because you said like ages ago he wants to be like a pantomime villain, but he's been a very good boy.
Yeah, but you know, I think it's new team, new everything. Really, I think he's been very clinical this season. I think he thinks it's his best opportunity, because once Turkington gets that BMR dialed in and gets used to driving front wheel drive and running at the front and everything again, he's going to be a real handful in Plato's life. It really is. I'm not saying he's not going racing well or whatever now, but I mean, let's face it, if he was still at WSR, he'd be banging on for race wins every single event. There's been some bits where he's just doing his learning curve. Second half of the season, Turkington's going to come on really strong. And it's whether BMR let him race Plato or whether they use him as a number 2 in this sort of guise as Matt Neal sometimes does for Gordon Shedden.
And also now with the second half of the season as well, Motorbase is coming back on the scene. So will Matt Jackson maybe cause a bit of an upset?
He went really well, didn't he? He went really well, didn't he?
What's that, sorry?
He went really well in testing, didn't he, apparently?
He did. He went very well in testing. I'll put it back up again. The morning session, he was 7th quickest. His teammate James Cole was down in 14th, but that's okay. That's not bad. But in the afternoon session, Jackson was the quickest.
Right. I like Motorbase again. I've sort of been catching up on all my racing today, and I've just been watching the 24 Hours of Spa on Motors TV for the endurance.
I watched that.
For the endurance side of things. And yeah, Dave Bartram was already there, wasn't he, from Motorbase?
Yeah, I think, was it the Akuri Akos? No. What am I on about? That's a different.
He was being interviewed basically, and they're saying he's got this massive love of GT racing, and he's really getting into all these 24-hour races, and it does make you wonder eventually whether this could be Matt Jackson's swan song, and Matt going to GT racing.
I hope not, because he's a good touring car driver.
It'd be a massive loss to British touring cars, that team as well. They are one of the most longest established, and let's face it, talented team and engineers in the paddock. It's that's a team that doesn't come second anywhere. The battlers than what they really are. So yeah.
So I can't wait to see the Motorbase team coming back on the track.
Yeah, have they got any major sponsorship sorted? Because evidently they lost the Airwave sponsorship.
From what I see, it's just a plain white paint scheme with a black line. But they'll find like a sponsor sometime within the next couple of weeks of the next meeting. Sure they would.
Yeah, especially if my lottery numbers come up.
Have around the bend stickers on the bonnet on the side.
Oh mate, now this is where I have to come on. To my news. We were saying a few episodes ago that we should not only attend more meetings in the flesh, which we've done. I've did Alton this year. I haven't had much chance to do anything else with work. But going forward and touring around and doing that. And then Sean came out with we ought to have a car to eventually get onto the BTCC grid. If we did it at £1 a time, in 500,000 weeks, we'd have a touring car, which I thought was a great concept. So what we've done is I've rescued I'm in the point of rescuing a vehicle to convert into kind of a touring car, a homage to a touring car. Lovingly called Project Vinny. What we're going to do is, at the moment, he's in a garage having engine and floors put in. But hopefully, as we go forward, he's not only going to look more like a touring car, and I'll use the word "look like a touring car" really loosely. He's going to have around the bend stickers all over it, so people know where we are when we're there. So that'll be really good. So we can expand this show out and do more interviews and stuff as we get from there. So that'll be awesome. So yeah, so Project Vinny is it's no longer a dream. We now have bought a car.
Is that what you named it, Vinny?
Yeah.
Oh right, okay. I was like, Vinny. Who's Vinny?
Yeah. Do you want me to we've named the car Project Vinny. Do you want me to tell you why?
Go on then.
You remember that advert that's about biscuits, and it was the panda that was like a mafia panda. That said, and his name was Vinny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, 80% of the car I've bought is made out of biscuit. So, because it's past rust, mate. I'm talking, we are rescuing something that's 25 years old. So I will keep you updated. I will keep you posted. And eventually we will do an around the bend BTCC-ish launch. If any British touring car teams want to help with Project Vinny and Around the Bend project, feel free to donate your spare NGTC parts. And this is the bit where the one that Simon Belcher smashed up last year, it comes in, they're just going to send us like a twisted wheel or something like that. No, we need bits that we can use, guys, please. That would be great. Yeah, so yeah, it was just a crazy idea, and we thought we'd do it. So yeah, it's great. Going forward, with this. The interesting thing that I'm sort of thinking about British touring cars at the moment is it's never been so closely fought with the potential for so many people to win before at this stage of the season, still so wide open. And there hasn't been any major stories. This is the first season in ages I've thought about, well, actually, where's the story? You know, there's no... Plato's won a few, yeah. You know, Jordan's coming on strong, yeah. Tordoff's, you know,
coming on, yeah.
It's going really well. Rob Collard. I mean, I'm not being funny. The boy, the second the lights go green, he's off and he's fighting, you know. But you could say the same for anybody in that whole grid. There hasn't really been a standout story. There's been no arguments about boost, ballast, tyres, rules, track limits. There's been no drama this year, really. And I've got a feeling...
Except for the final race at Donington, because that was a lot of drama.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm on about like away from a certain race. I'm on about like just around the British touring cars at the moment. There doesn't seem to be the real, you know, will it be Matt Neal? Will it be Shed? And who's going to go, you know, who's going to go out to that team forward? BMR, you know, if Turkington was another 25, 30 points in front, you'd be saying it was him and Plato. But to be fair, at this point of the season, with the points leads that Plato's got over him, you wouldn't really be shocked if they pulled team orders for the first season and said everybody's got to support Jason and he's chasing the title, because that Constructors' Championship for an independent like BMR is a really major thing. And there doesn't seem to be any real controversy in the rate. You know, there's no. Everybody seems to be playing really nice, really fair, which can only mean one thing: it's all about to kick off at Snetterton.
I think it'll all about to kick off in the second half of the season. I would say, yeah.
Yeah. So fast forward to the other end of the season. Who do you reckon is going to be holding the trophy?
Plato.
Honestly,
I say it with a deep intake of breath, but I just say Plato.
Yeah, I've got to admit, you know, if the second half of the season is anything like the first, yeah, that's a really sound call. I can see Tordoff really putting pressure on him, and it all depends on how much of that testing translates, you know, forward into the second half of the season for, say, somebody like Andy Jordan as well. If Andy gets a really good, you know, meeting and he sort of bangs 3 race wins it, he's straight back in it again. And you've only got to have one person dominate a weekend, you know, and it's, to be honest, you know, the person who seems to be able to do that, apart from Jason Plato, does seem to be Sam Tordoff at the moment. You know, he seems to be on a real
he's just on fire at the moment as well. Speaking of the BMW team at Tordoff, Andy Prio won at Croft as well, but I also heard in his interview that he's not going to be racing at Rockingham. Right. So, who do you think will replace him at Rockingham?
Ooh, that's interesting.
I've seen a few people on the fans group page saying Ashhand, Ant Wharton, Eels.
Yeah.
Or anyone else.
Ant Wharton, Eels, or Ashhand's a good call. Can you? And I know this sounds daft, but for the sake of sponsorship, with a team like WSR, do you think they will put a big hitter in from another series?
See, that was what I was thinking of. I was thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
I wasn't thinking of like a Clio Cup driver or a.
I'm thinking of a BMW GT driver.
You're possibly thinking what I'm thinking then.
I'm thinking somebody who's either that or a BMW DTM driver. They'll take somebody who's much bigger to come
on,
and
see it. See what I think.
It could be. I'm just trying to think of current DTM drivers. I'm not up on the DTM.
He's not in the DTM. What I'm thinking of.
Bruno. Oh, not. Is it Spengler? I'm not sure.
Are you thinking of Farfus?
No.
I wasn't thinking. See, I was thinking of Joey Hand.
Do you want me to tell you to be a corker? an absolute corker, and it would be an absolute coup for the British Touring Car Championship. Alex Zanardi.
Oh.
He's got his hand controls on the steering wheel. It would just be a case of dink, little change on the car.
I never see. Do you know what? I never thought of that one. I thought of another driver in the BMW. I thought of Joey Hand, because he raced in the DTM before, and he drove for BMW.
Yeah,
and he also drove. Yeah, I mean, he's like Prio. He's driven for BMW for a lot of years. If you mind that scary crash that he had at Lime Rock Park in the American.
Do you want me to tell you the other one who's supposed to be going back to BMW as well? But whether it's been confirmed anywhere or not yet, but apparently it's really strong that he's going to go back to BMW for some GT racing, is Robert Kubica.
Oh, right. I thought you were going to say Turkington.
No. Robert Kubica apparently is leaving Citroen for the rally in his private team, and he's going back to BMW to do endurance racing, DTM racing, and basically, world touring cars or something like that. So
you'll see DNF over time.
yeah. It'll be like, welcome to round, and it's a red flag.
I mean, don't get me wrong, Kubica. I mean, okay, he's had that serious injury, but when he's in the car, he is unbelievably fast. But sometimes, there's a certain line that you go over, and he goes over it a lot, and he tends to crash a lot.
You mean the mark of Maldonado?
It's polished on him real well.
It's great, yeah. It's the I think I was having a look the other week. There was just a picture of a car, like the top end of a Formula One car, and you could just see the airbox and then sky above it, and then somebody put a grid on it. It was like spot the ball, but spot past the Maldonado, which I thought was quite funny. And yeah, again, there's video footage. There's great video footage of Robert Kubica testing at rally cars at the moment, and it's been on the internet for a few months now. And the guy's just absolutely phenomenal. I mean, I'm not being funny. It could be a guest drive. It could actually be a guest drive. I mean, it's a bold call, but what about sticking Paul O'Neill back in that WSR as an ITV4 car?
Do you know, a few people have said that as well on the page. A few people said Paul O'Neill.
That'd be amazing. Paul O'Neill, rear-wheel drive car, ITV4 cameras in it, not eligible for points to take out the championship, and actually have him in for those races as a fan cam, with him actually doing stuff on there, because they must have the ability to make stuff for to like make external footage. So they cut to him in the main broadcast, and then externally to that, you could log on to the internet and look at ITV's players page and actually just watch that race with Paul O'Neill doing commentary as he drives around. That'd be awesome.
That would be mint. Yeah, that would be.
I'd love that. That'd be awesome. If anybody's from ITV4's watching this, two things. First of all, employ me and Sean, because we've got a track day car pay for, and also the fact that there's a lot more that they could do with this whole thing. I mean, this WSR thing's a massive opportunity for somebody to come in and make a name. Could somebody else come in out of the paddock? So say somebody like Lando Norris.
Nah, I think Lando Norris is more concentrating on a single-seater career.
Yeah, but when a factory like BMW makes a phone call, to WSR and says, "Can you put one of our new super?" You know what I mean? Or say somebody, and Dan Camish, somebody who's won like British Formula Ford, or you want somebody in there who's going to do it.
I would. Oh, someone just sprung into my mind, and he's just gone back out.
Ashan. I think Ashan or Ant Walton Eels is a really good call.
I thought Jake Hill.
Yes, actually, yes. Yeah.
Because he's in British GT, but he did a touring car race at Croft a few years back, drive in the Ford, was it not?
I think they should do another thing as well, actually, in all fairness, thinking about it. Wouldn't it be great to have a female driver running right at the front?
That would be, yeah.
Yeah. You know, it could be a one that they put, you know, some really good, talented female carter and pick them literally out of obscurity and put them in. And just go, you know. But the person who does it, are they still eligible for championship points for those rounds?
I'm guessing that they would, because I mean, we've had a few drivers. We've had a few drivers, you know, like Martin Donnelly. You know, he was in for championship points. But...
Right. So that in that case, then they'll always put it in a safe pair of hands. They won't do anything outrageous with it. They'll put somebody who's definitely going to score a podium because they'll want the constructors' points. It's gonna be that's more likely picking somebody who's not raced in British touring. You'll find it will be somebody who's got an international license, not just a British license. That'll be some hotshot German, Italian, or Swede, or
that's when I was saying maybe Joey Hand, because he's been in DTM for I think 2-3 years. Who does
Priu share a car with in when he does his endurance racing? I mean, evidently he's not there to do his endurance racing, so evidently those guys are tied up. But, you know, it could be if one of them... And what I'm saying to you is you've only got to have somebody in BMW's stable, have an accident, be injured and be on the sidelines, fit enough to come back, but not fit enough to actually go win some 24-hour or 12-hour endurance race. And they could almost use to get their fitness back, use the British Touring Car, 3 rounds of the British Touring Cars just to get race fit again.
I'm actually just looking on me on my thingy here.
Sean's book of stats. That's what we call it.
I noticed that Priu actually he won. I think he got victory in the Spa 24 hours.
Right. Okay.
Lucas Lowe is one.
Nice. Okay.
I don't know who the other one is. Who's the other one? Marcus Patala. Sounds Finnish.
You see, what could crease me up with this is like, you know, there's a whole heap. They must have a whole heap of simulator and test drivers who are, how can I put it? Like, you know, there's got to be development drivers that WSR have got on their radar. You know, it's been a breeding ground for talent for years and years and years. And, you know, he's no fool, as Mr. Bennett's, not at all.
No.
He's a wily old fox, and he will definitely have a plan. There's no two ways about it. But I'm expecting it, because they haven't set the world on fire they haven't set the world on fire to actually be running right at the front for every single event. They're just sort of getting there now. I think they're going to do something for their big... It's got to be a big announcement, hasn't it?
I just got something in my mind here. If Dave Bartram actually got a proper good driver, he'll be just relaxing on his chair with his feet up, having a cigar, saying, I've made a good deal. I could see if it was a world-class driver, like.
Just sitting there. Just sitting there. Any of them.
His cigar away, yes.
That would be the one. You know, I think WSR have got a real opportunity here to make a PR splash by putting in a big name that wouldn't be there, if you remember. Could somebody be tempted back from Super Touring days?
Oh, like who? Harvey?
ITV4 again. Connect him up. Stick him in the car for 3. Can the old dog still do it?
Oh, maybe. See, what I was thinking as well, if Priu has like a great Snetterton and also a great Knockhill, but obviously he'll get to miss Rockingham. But what happens if Priu, after Knockhill, is fighting for the championship? Would he actually postpone missing that race that he was supposed to be doing and actually race at Rockingham?
I honestly believe his career will always be focused on a world stage rather than a British touring car stage.
I would like to see him though, because he looks like a real nice guy as well.
I mean, I'm going back now to 2007, 2008. and he was at the Autosport show at Birmingham, and we were stood in a queue to get in the morning. And he was actually, everybody else went through with their VIP passes, and he was actually 2 people behind us talking to the crowd, and he was actually queuing up to get in himself. He's just a really laid-back, chill, normal guy, you know. He doesn't lord it. The fact that he's been a world touring car champion at all is just very approachable bloke, very nice bloke.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's gonna be an interesting thing for WSR to do this. I hope they do something exciting.
Yeah.
Because they tend to be very reserved when they do stuff. And it could be a real good opportunity to steal a little bit of BMR's thunder. You know, perhaps put them on the back foot for the second half of the season.
Sorry, there. I was in the world. I was in the world of my own now. Sorry.
it's all that iron brew.
No, it's not. It's over his black currant juice here. That's what it is.
Yeah, any Smirnoff in that, mate?
No, I don't even drink alcohol, man. What are you on about?
No.
Oh, well.
Scotsman that doesn't drink. And in other news, water isn't wet.
Oh, I'm not a Scottishman.
Oh, right. That's all coming out now. It's all coming out now. Is this so you're eligible for a WSR drive?
Yes.
Oh dear. So what else on the itinerary?
I'm pleased by Andy Brio at Rockingham is Sean.
Yes.
Hi, hello.
That's great. They've actually they've replaced all the panels on the car with screens so you can update your stats as you're going round. all the punters can read who's in what position where. Be great. So what's the rest of the agenda, mate? Because I'm conscious of time with this one.
I posted a question out to the fans group page.
Cool.
Yes. I
the question was?
It was okay, and he says it's fine. So the question was, and thanks as well to the people that posted some answers on there. It was, cool. Got quite a few responses.
Cool. Do you want to go through for the people who haven't looked at the fan page and just accidentally clicked on us on YouTube? What was the question and what were some of the responses and who said them? That'd be amazing.
Right then. So the question was, since we've had some ex-Formula One drivers, and we were talking about that not too long ago with Maldonado and that, drivers in the BTCC, a.k.a. Martin Donnelly.
Maldonado would be sponsored by plastic padding, wouldn't he? Just like body panels.
Like bubble wrap the whole car. So he won't get the damage a lot of it. So like we've had some like former ex-Formula One drivers in the BTCC, like Martin Donnelly, Johnny Herbert, Nigel Mansell, Julian Bailey, Derek Warwick, etc. Which ex-Formula One drivers would you like to see in the BTCC? Now, I think the most one was Damon Hill.
That'd be a good call. That'd be entertaining.
A few people said Damon Hill, Lee Toms, John Feeker, Charlie Briggs, Chris Lord as well. Some other people, and also Lee also said Martin Brundle. I think he would be really good because he knows a lot about format. He would be good.
I've got a Martin Brundle story which I will have to save for another time because it's quite a long one. But let me just tell you something about Mr. Martin Brundle. He is one of the most genuinely nice and funny people you will ever have the pleasure of meeting in your life. He is an absolutely genuine guy, and if he drives a touring car, anything like he drives a Mercedes Sprinter van at Donington Park around the Perimeter Road, yeah, he's going to win. I'm sorry. It's just... The
touring car drivers have got another thing coming.
Oh, yeah, believe me, mate. I have never been in a van before or since that travelled so quickly. It was scared. I still think if anybody at Donington Park has got a Mercedes Sprinter van with some teeth marks on the passenger side of the dashboard, those are mine. Because I was scared. Rigid. Yeah, go on, mate. So, yeah, Martin Donnelly.
Have you seen his son, Alex? Alex Brundle.
Alex Brundle's good. He's good value in a car, he is as well. That'd be really good, actually.
And he also speaks like his dad as well. Very well spoken too.
Yeah. So who else was on the list then from there? And what were the suggestions in?
Another Andrew Lloyd and Will Northcott also said Nigel Mansell. Paul Farragut said Martin Brundle too. Simon Topham had a few. Ayrton Senna. Jerome D'Ambrosio.
Now, I'll tell you something now, right? He did demo runs at Renault World Series a few seasons back, and he was amazing. Really good guy. Really quick guy. It'd be quite fun to do that. Here's one for you. Jonathan Palmer.
Nah, he's past it. He had one year in the BTCC. He wasn't that good.
Yeah, I know, but just for a one-off, bearing in mind off the tracks they race at is.
Nah.
Not a fan?
No.
Right, okay. Next.
Next one. He also said Martin Brundle too, did Simon, and also he said one more, Karun Chandok.
Oh yeah, I'd pay money for that.
In Formula 3, did he know? British Formula 3.
He is. He would be a welcome addition. WSR, if you were watching this right now, please get him on the phone and get him in for those missing rounds that Andy can't do, because he's cracking value.
It's only going to be Rockingham though. It's only going to be Rockingham.
Who cares? Get him in the car.
Have a fourth car.
Yeah. It's get him or I'd love to see Bruno Senna there. Bruno's ace. Yeah.
Alan Faulkner, he said Mark Webber.
Yeah.
So too did Sean Burbridge, but he also says Kamui Kobayashi.
No, that'd be great.
As did Sean Hartley as well. He said Kobayashi.
Yes, Kobayashi would be an interesting addition to the paddock. I'd like Takuma Sato. A dream team of him and Takuma Sato get together. Can you imagine the garage bill for that?
Yeah, that'd be quite awesome. A lot of damaged cars too.
Yeah, we're not quite into the Stefan Hodget's Wall of Fame, but you know what I mean.
There's going to be loads of Wall of Fames if they put their cars on it.
Yeah.
Actually, speaking of which, Richard Davies also said Takuma Sato, but he also says Max Chilton.
Yeah, Max would be a good addition. Yeah, you know, evidently with his brother having all the experience as well. Could they bring him back? Could they bring Tom Chilton back for one?
Oh, possibly.
That's a good shout.
Not unless they mix in with a World Touring Car event. Which, to be fair, I don't know why people should watch World Touring Cars because it's rubbish.
Fair enough. say it like it is, Sean. Don't beat about the bush. You know, just tell them how it is. Yeah.
Richard also said he would like to see Pastor Maldonado. See someone else.
Loving your work, Rich. Loving your work. Can you just imagine the adverts? It'll be like Steve Ryder would be like, and we'll be back after this break, and all the adverts would be, have you had an accident and it wasn't your fault?
And then the camera just turns to Pastor Maldonado, he'd be like, me?
Yeah.
I wonder how many cars he'll go through anyways. I tell you what, if Pastor does go into BTCC, and if he drives for say a BMW, that team must have 15 BMWs ready, one for each session, unless he crashes it.
Yeah, I could agree with that. I'm just thinking about who else would be a really good shout for there. You know.
Well, getting on with some of the other people.
Before we do that, just one question. A lot of those drivers have got there through F3. Which are run on British touring car circuits. So, have knowledge of those circuits. They wouldn't be coming to it completely blind. Having an F1 driver back in, even current or whatever, wouldn't, especially current driver, I bet they've only been not going around those circuits, perhaps 3, maybe 4 years.
I know Carver Kane, he did Formula 3 for a good few years.
NASA's done that. Ricciardo's done that.
Of course, now the British Formula 3 series is now defunct now.
Yeah.
Which is a shame.
Still a lot of F1 drivers gone through that programme then.
Yeah.
So who else? Was there any other suggestions from anybody?
Yep. Martash. Hello, Mart. He had 2 suggestions: Michael Schumacher or David Coulthard.
Coulthard would be cracking.
Oh yeah.
Schumacher at his height, it might as well be just park everybody else's car up in the trailer and go home, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
You know, he was and remains the definitive champion. We were discussing this earlier on, saying I don't think Vettel or Vettel or however you say it now, will ever do 7. I don't think. I think that was a one-off thing we'll only ever want to see in our lifetimes.
Yeah. Alan Brooks also said David Coulthard and Yuji Aide.
Nice.
Another Japanese driver. In fact, that's what a British touring car needs as well. It's some like foreign drivers. We've got a lot of British drivers in the series, but if you think back to the Super Tourer eras, like say '93, you had Winkelhock,
yeah,
German. You had Tarquini, it was Italian. You had Menu, it was Swiss. You had a lot of drivers from a lot of countries, you know.
Yeah, there could be some big manufacturers getting back in, you know.
Oh yeah. Nick Gordon, he also says David Coulthard, dude's got skills. He is the Race of Champions winner after all.
Yeah,
it's true, because he did win that, yeah. Nick Howard also said David Coulthard would be great. Eddie Irvine would be interesting.
Oh, yes.
Forgot about him, didn't we? Eddie Irvine.
Yeah.
And Jacques Villeneuve, he's tried rallycross and was successful. He tried NASCAR, but was unsuccessful. So there you go. David Lunt also said David Coulthard too.
Coulthard's a very popular one. You know, there's a lot of love for DC out there. Good skills.
Yeah, with his personal made helmet to keep us, you know. Anyway,
I went to in Twynholm in Scotland, where he's actually from. He's got a museum there, right, for all his stuff. And I got up one morning bored, and I drove there to go and visit it. And I went there to get there. Took about 7.5, 8 hours to drive up there. Got there and it was closed. I drove all the way to Scotland, and I'd picked the one day a year where they were all at the Monaco, because you did this thing where they were at the Monaco Grand Prix, and all his family had gone out there to watch him race, and we'd gone there. So you can actually, I think you still can do it now. You can actually go and watch the F1s from his dad's garage in Scotland, in Twynholm in Scotland. And we went to do that, to go watch him there. And I'll never forget that. I drove all the way there and it was closed. It's typical my timing, man. It's always the same. Yeah, so, you know, putting a Formula One car in there, a Formula One driver, out of a fish out of water and back into a touring car could work really well. I mean, you know, you've only got to see the Le Mans 24-hour winner this year to work out, you know, that you don't always have to have an open top car to be a cracking driver, do you, really?
No. There's been other people here. George Brammer and Ian Farrar says Jenson Button.
Gents.
But I mean, to be fair, he drove in Formula 3 before going into Formula 1.
Gents would not risk his reputation. I think he'd go to Le Mans first. I
think he'll be more going, like I think with Webber too, doing some endurance racing after Formula 1, I would say.
It'd be interesting, actually. I'll tell you something now. We're having this discussion because of WSR. That WSR drive, if that had been Honda, Jensen could have gone back if it was a Honda he was going to be sitting in for one race.
I don't know.
You know.
Oh, sorry here. Looking at the answers again here. Steve Davis, not the snooker world champion. He had 3 suggestions.
We don't know this. It could be.
He didn't look ginger on his profile page anyway.
Oh, jeez. No. The thoughts of Around the Bend aren't necessarily that of both of us.
I'm having Jeremy Clarkson here. I've got this in me.
Right, okay, great.
Steve Davis says James Hunt.
Nice.
Jochen Mass and Sterling Moss.
Now, Sterling Moss would be a good call. I'd love to have seen Sterling in his prime. I really would. Jackie Stewart. What about him coming back?
Well, hold on. I'm going down. Don't worry. I'll get to him in a minute.
All right, okay. Go on, crack on.
Right, Nathan Hudson. He says maybe Johnny Herbert. Maybe. But he's doing the Formula One coverage on Sky, though, isn't he?
Yeah, but I mean, to be honest with you, you know, we're talking about ITV4, so there wouldn't really be that much of a clash with anything as well. And you know, Johnny here, but still a cracking driver. They still use it. I mean, of course, he's got links with ITV4 with GT Academy.
Oh yeah. Mm.
That could work.
Ah, maybe. Yeah, but I forgot about that GT Academy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mick Palmer, hello Mick. He says Alex Zanardi.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Drove a champ car like it was a touring car and handled himself pretty well in the WTC. He also says Gerhard Berger.
Yes, but can you imagine the interview with Gerhard Berger? Can you imagine the interview with Gerhard Berger? It's like, Gerhard, I was race 2. Beep, and beep, 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 beep. And he was a beep, the man's a beep. Thank you. Back to Steve.
And Steve comes back with a horrified look like...
and a dictionary to find out what half the words meant.
And a fan as well, because he's like, God, he's going to cut us off now. Whatever. Who else? I'm looking down here. Keith Lovejoy, he says Nicky Lauda.
Oh, good call, Keith. That is amazing.
Yeah, Nicky Lauda.
He's got a new documentary out, hasn't he, about his life as an individual. That's come out as a DVD, the Nicky Lauda story. And apparently, when he had his accident and was really burnt really badly, he was still giving interviews while he was in the ambulance going for surgery, apparently, according to this documentary. It's the new thing is they found out he was still giving interviews while he was on fire. It sounds like the sort of thing Jason Plater would do.
A good call, that, yeah. Keith also goes on to say maybe Susie Wolff. Well, she's not raced in a Formula One car. I mean, she's been testing, but not raced in one yet.
No, I mean, to be honest with you, I like, you know, I'm not necessarily holding this to Formula One drivers. We need a decent. I can't understand in this day and age why there is not a 2-car female team. We've got them in the support paddock with genetic juniors and all that sort of stuff going on as well. And yet when it comes to MSA Formula and, you know, Formula Renault, they had Alice Powell and everything a few years ago, but there's been no real. And yet British karting is awash with fast females. It's about time it happened. About time it happened.
There was also news around the BTC paddock that Sophia Flörsch driver,
yes.
You know how good she was?
Yeah.
She's not going to be racing in the Genetic Juniors no more.
No, out of budget, and she's off to German F4 apparently.
Yeah.
Shockingly bad news. But again,
on the plus side, you know, it's a bit of an upgrade because she's in a Formula car now. She's in single seaters.
Yeah, but we, as British fans, we don't get to see her progress, which is a shame because she's a talented kid.
Yeah. Going back to the question again, Keith Lovejoy. He also says, failing that, Juan Pablo Montoya. Jet dryers beware in the PTCC.
Yeah, I'd just be saying to yourself, right, if Juan Pablo Montoya comes back, I am insisting that Alan Gow lifts all the catchment fencing by another 10 feet.
And just get rid of all the jet dryers too.
Yeah, and also, Montoya, I don't think has ever pressed a brake pedal in his life. I don't think
he would have to now because he's in an IndyCar.
I don't think he still uses it. Then I don't think anybody's told him what it's for. It'd be interesting.
Heck, I mind Montoya going back to the Formula 3000 days.
What about Paul di Resta?
Someone said Paul di Resta. I just completely missed him. Craig Nicholson. Sorry, Craig. He says Paul di Resta. See,
I'm with you there, Craig. That's telepathy going on right there, brother.
There's a couple more. I think there's 5 people, but 2 of them said the same. Daniel Francis. He says Alan McNish.
Hello, Alan McNish. That would be amazing. Alan is a seriously talented driver. He's so far into the Audi setup, though, he'd have to go back with an Audi. It'd have to be either with Rob Austin or with Hamilton.
Yeah. Darren Morley, he said as well, Bruno Senna, like what you said not too long ago.
Or there's the international sound of Bruno Senna, which is Bruno.
Blake Gibbons, he says Mika Hakkinen would be one.
Oh, good call.
That is a good call.
In the Merc with Mr. Morgan.
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
And also Sir Jackie Stewart.
Yeah.
Yeah. And also another person agree with him called Rufus Rothcutt, but I don't know who the fudge he is.
That'll
he says
me.
Sir Jackie Stewart. Oh, is that? That's you!
That's me. Yeah.
Wink, wink. And one final one. Richard Mead, he says Hamilton v his brother Nick could be cool to see. But to be fair though, Lewis Hamilton is still in Formula 1 and he's going to be there for quite a long time.
I was just going to say, let me just put it this way, right? They are both in identical cars. They are hammering it down to the first corner at any BTCC track you pick. Nick versus Lewis. Here's a question for you. Who lifts first? Because I've got to feel the answer is neither of them.
No. See, we think alike now.
Yeah, because I think that would just be okay, and they're both on the front row, and let's just wait for the bang. Let's just wait for the bang happening. Because apparently there was a documentary a few years back, and Lewis was actually saying that Nick Hamilton, they used to do a lot of online racing, and perhaps somebody in the family did that, and he used to regularly leave Lewis for dead on video games and stuff. I know he's been doing a lot of driving for Project Cars as well, development driving Project Cars as Nick. So it wouldn't be as cut as dry, I don't think. I think it'd be a completely different ball game being out of a single seater for Lewis. I think really. Yeah.
There was one other Formula 1 driver that I thought of, and no other people thought of. I'll give you a quiz, right? See who you think I'm thinking of, right? He didn't have a very successful career in Formula 1. He mostly DNQ'd a lot.
Right.
Any clues? Any answers?
Now.
No. Right, next question.
No.
Oh,
I'm tempted to say one name, but I know I'm wrong. And that's David Brabham.
Oh, my sound machine's not working. Oh, no. No, that's wrong.
All right, okay.
No. He then went into DTM and was very successful. He won a few championships there.
DTM. Come on, Carl. No, go on. Another.
He was like the #1 driver for Mercedes before retiring.
In F1?
No, for DTM.
For DTM? Not sure, mate. Not at all. DTM's not something I've got access to follow, to be perfectly honest.
Oh, okay then. I was thinking of Bernd Schneider. Right,
okay. Yeah, good call.
That was who I was thinking of as well.
Yeah. I tell you the other one I'd love to see, but it's not a Formula 1 driver. Is Bernie Simonson, British DT driver, as was, and now endurance driver extraordinaire for multiple teams.
Bernie?
Yeah, Benny Simonson.
Benny.
Benny Simonson, Alan Simonson, who passed away at the Le Mans 24 Hours.
I was going to say, was that Alan sibling?
It's his younger brother, and the guy. If you wanna see how to do an overtake at Old Corner, if you put in Benny Simonson, Alton Park, and just watch how he handled the Fiat 500 by sticking it on its door handle and then back on its wheels, you'll just see the sort of typical caliber of driver. He is blindingly fast in anything he gets into. Very, very interesting guy.
He must have raced in that 24-hour race then earlier today.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, he was in car 22 or 24, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, anything else from the forum? Anything else from the page?
No, that was it. That was the last of the questions. So, massive thank you to everyone who
took part.
Took part in it. Yeah. And we all give you a shout out as well.
Yeah, well, like I say, I mean, this is the fan interaction part that works really well for us. We did the interview with Max Coates. doing the stuff like this and interacting with you more is what we want to do for Around the Bend. It's not just me and Sean ranting. We really want to get your thoughts and get this stuff across as well, especially if you're in there. We're slowly building audience. We're slowly getting the hits, and it's great. And we're just doing it because we enjoy doing it. And yeah, it'll be amazing to get some more questions up for that. So I think the next question we should put up on there is perhaps something to do with the second sort of thing. I was wondering whether to have a bit of fun with it this time round. Everybody in the British Touring Car Championship's been off on holiday, so we put a page up of where's everybody been for holiday?
I know where I'm going on my holiday.
Go on, mate.
Down home.
Right, okay. I've got like I say, it'd be interesting just to find out if people have fed their addiction to getting into other racing, perhaps, and stuff while the BTCC's off. You know, going on, perhaps taking on looking at a different form of motorsport that's perhaps not just British touring cars.
Yeah, well, you were saying about with drivers being on holiday. I know Dave Newsham, he was on holiday because I seen something on his Facebook page, relaxing to a nice pint. Aidan Moffat, he's been on holiday. That's the only two that I know. There was no Adam Morgan at the testing, so I'm probably presuming he was on holiday, just to guess. Jack Goff, he might have been on holiday because he also wasn't at the Snetterton testing. Also, the two Infinity cars of Coates and Palmer, they weren't at the testing.
No. So I think a lot of it's to do with budget now. I think some of them have got the car. There's no more budget left to do any development, so it's pointless testing. Because they know what they've got the setup like, they know what they're going to go. They've got 4 or 5 setups for the rest of the races. Run its course and save for next season, develop the car into next season.
Yeah. I've got here 2 more things that we don't need explaining about, but because time's getting on and you have to go soon, haven't you?
Yeah, mate.
Also, I noticed on the BTCC website, Andy Jordan has signed a new contract until 2018.
Nice. I didn't see that coming, actually. I honestly, and did say in a previous episode, I thought he was off to Global Rallycross. I really did.
Yeah.
So
he still could that in between time, though, couldn't he?
Yeah, he could, but I just thought with him being a Red Bull athlete, they make a massive thing about having a Brit at the front. I just thought it was a missed opportunity for Red Bull there.
And also one other news as well, Hunter Abbott is going to be skipping Knockhill, so he's not going to be there due to his missus expecting.
Oh, congratulations.
So yeah, congratulations there, Hunter. So you're going to be replaced by Alan McNish.
Yeah. And when you dash into the hospital car park, try and stay on all 4 wheels and not catch fire, which was what happened to me.
That would end up pretty bad.
Yeah, that was quite scary. Stay on the black stuff, mate. You're a talented guy. We need you in the championship. Make sure you dash safely and good sort of messages from everybody on the page and everything else. So that'd be amazing. Good luck.
And that's pretty much it for me. Yeah. Unless if you've got something on your Plato.
My big thing about being on the Plato is this bloody 3-week holiday because it's really wrecked me. As in, I really want Snetterton to be right now. Would be good if we could watch that race. It's going to be an exciting second half of the season. Some of the tracks that are coming up, I'm not really a fan of. I like races where anyone can win, and there's a lot of races coming up where you kind of know that one team's going to be really strong, and it's sort of picking the best of the rest, really. There's going to be tracks where BMR and WSR just running eyes, and it's going to be. This is where it gets really interesting to start watching the back of the grid and see who's coming, see where the real talent is coming through as well.
But also as well for Knockhill provides some entertaining races, like what happened last year. I mean, I think last year was probably the best round of the 2014 season. It's
been the best round for a number of years, Knockhill. It's a very, 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 very special place to decide the championships. It's not just all about that last run. If you're going to make a big leap forward in points, you need a good Knockhill. And on that note, then, shall we call it tonight, then, mate, and do that, and we will get together for a Snetterton preview. Then, shall we do that next time?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah.
All right, mate. Well, what I'll do is I'll stop the broadcast now. Thank you very much for watching Around the Bend. If you sat with us all the way through this, really appreciate it. Again, if you've got any thoughts, BTCC Fan Group on Facebook. We're over 5,000 members strong now. It would be absolutely amazing to get that to 10,000, but we can only do that if you tell your friends about the whole family of British Touring Car Fan Group and keep us involved. Anything you want to get involved with for us. We have got a Around the Bend Gmail now, haven't we, that we set up as well. Didn't we do aroundthebend@gmail.com? I'm sure.
Yeah, I think that's what you did, didn't you?
Yeah, I think we set one up. I haven't logged into it for a while. So
around the BTCC aroundthebend@gmail.com. If you could just leave a message on there and
the fastest way to do it is through the page so everybody can start threads so everybody else can get involved and do everything else. Until the next time then, enjoy your Snetterton viewing. We're going to go back and do a sort of preview from there. Sean's stats are also available on the fan page, so if you want to do any mid-season sort of working out who's where and where this championship's actually heading, get over to the Facebook group and do that for us from there. And until the next time, I've been Bart, it's been Sean.
Bye.
Right, typical long goodbye that Sean does every episode. And we'll speak to you soon. Until the next time on Around the Bend.